Good to see you again, Derek.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good, good.
Well.
Now, mince pies, often people just go and buy a box of 6 or whatever, and that's that. But making your own's got to be much better.
It is indeed. It gives it a little bit of your own character and your own flavour.
Absolutely.
And particularly doing this part, which is making your own mincemeat, which is really important. So I know we're rushed today, so I'll rattle through this quite quickly.
Go for it.
In here, I've got about 150 grams of finely chopped Bramley apple. So it's just peeled, cored and diced.
Bramley the best or anything?
Yeah, Bramley for this, just because it's got that acidity in there, just helps. But you could use a standard eating apple if you wanted.
Okay.
Now I'm going to add my dried fruit. Now this, you can use whatever you like for this.
Yep.
If you like dried peel, you can put more in it. You don't like dried peel, you can put more in. It doesn't matter at all. So we've got sultanas, we've got currants, we've got dried peel, raisins, all sorts in there.
So whatever you fancy.
Whatever you fancy. You want cherries in there, you want some crystallised pineapple, whatever you like. To that, I'm just going to add the juice and zest of a lemon and the juice and zest of an orange.
So one orange, one lemon.
Zest and juice. Juice of both. We'll give that a little mix through.
What's the best way of zesting? What's the best way of doing that? Because often people have those things where you scrape it up and down on the grater. You have to beat it all off and all the rest of it.
The best thing you can do is get yourself a microplane zester, and they're a really fine zester. And you just 2 strokes on it, and it'll take you to the pith. Because it's very important that you don't go beyond the skin.
Yes,
because there's a layer of oil.
Bitter then, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Once you get beyond the layer of oil, you get into the bitter part.
Okay, what did you just add there?
What I've just added here.
Looks like cheese grated.
It does a bit. It's actually called suet. Now, suet's an animal fat. It comes from cows. It's usually from the fat around the sort of heart and the kidneys.
Lovely.
Quite
too much information.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell when suet's used, it's a proper old school English
Suet's what
ingredient.
you make dumplings with, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's said it's an animal fat. We use it in pastries. That's something. You think of steak and kidney puddings from the chip shop.
You can get vegetarian suet as well.
You can get vegetarian suet. Yeah, it is possible to get if you're a vegetarian.
Okay.
Now the last thing we want to add is some spice.
Okay.
So in here I've just got some cinnamon, some nutmeg, some mixed spice. Again, whatever you like. If you like a little bit of ginger or something in there, throw it in there. It's not a problem. Give it all a really nice mix through.
Dried spice is the best for that, I guess.
Oh yes, it's all. I mean, these are all the Christmassy dried spices that we're thinking of.
Okay, super.
So just give that a nice mix through, and as you can see, it's already looking a little like mincemeat.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Now the most important thing, I mean, the smell off that's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
So we're now going to pop this in the oven. So a little bit of foil onto the top.
Yeah.
And pop it into a low oven, about 120.
Yeah.
And it needs 3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours.
Okay, what happens in that time?
Everything starts to break down. I mean, ideally we'd leave that overnight to start to macerate as well.
Yeah.
And all the sugars will liquidize, the fruit will start to macerate and break down, and we'll get something lovely and soft. So if you can't be bothered making your own, you can come to Redhouse Farm and buy one of our jars made to the same recipe.
Very, very good.
Always a good bit of plugging.
Why not?
Next part to a mince pie, obviously, is our pastry.
Okay.
So we're making a sweet crust pastry here.
Okay.
Now, obviously, most people know short crust, half fat to flour. Very simple recipe. With the sweet crust, we do what's called a 3-2-1 recipe. So it's 3 parts flour, 2 parts butter, 1 part sugar.
Okay.
Okay. So we've just brought that to the breadcrumb phrase that we would do normally when making a pastry.
Yeah.
And we just need to add a little bit of water so we can combine all that together.
Okay.
So a little well in the centre.
Can I just open your jar for a second? Is that
Of course you can, yeah. You can have.
Because I just want to see, when you said that it's all got to go into the oven for 3 hours, I want to have an idea of what that looks like at the very end. Oh, it's wonderful.
Smells lovely, doesn't it?
Absolutely fantastic. Very nice.
So we're giving just a little bit of water and mix into there, and we're just going to form this into a dough so we can make it nicely roll it out and actually work with it. Now, it's starting to just about form together. You will find, because it's got a higher butter content, when you make sweet crust pastry, it's a slightly wetter mix than making short crust. So it can be just that little bit more difficult to handle.
That's because your hands are warm.
Well, that's the one thing with pastry. You always keep everything cold.
Okay.
Now, the one thing I would always do with that now is drop it into a fridge. Obviously, we've not got time for that today. I'd just give it half an hour just to let the starch come out and just to relax so it's easier to work with. So, we need a little flour.
Yep.
It's the first time I've done a bit of rolling on this show.
Go for it. You have to do quick rolling, I'm afraid.
So, a little bit of flour out there.
That's because Amy wants to taste, that's all. That's the only reason.
That's the only reason,
being
is
rushed.
Okay, so give it a nice flouring so it's nice and easy to work with.
Yep.
And always flour your rolling pin as well.
Okay.
So like that, and we'll just give it little quarter turns, just so we can keep it
so much
nice
better
and
to make
even.
your own pastry as well, isn't it? It's an achievement, isn't it?
It is. We'll just give this a really quick going over. Just catching a touch there, so reflour your board. As you can see, the pastry is just slightly tacky.
Yep, that's
Again,
the lights as well here in the studio, of course.
If obviously you're just giving it that little bit of fridge time, it would be slightly easier to work with.
Yep.
But if you do find your made pastry slightly too tacky, just add a little bit of flour in there. That'll absorb anything for you.
Fantastic.
So we're nice and thin now in the middle. We'll take our cutter. If you can just pass me that tray there, please, Derek.
Yep. And you've got basically a Yorkshire pudding tin here, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, this is just a simple baking tray. 12 discs in there, no problem. Oh, I'm struggling to get this one out. We'll go for one nearer the side here.
Okay, so you cut 12
cut ours out, yeah. We're going to pop that in. Oh, my pastry's a bit too wet. We've got problems here.
So you form it onto the inside of the...
2 discs, one on the base.
Yep.
Spoon of that in.
Yep.
On top of the pastry. Into the oven, 180.
And we end up with, which is the best thing. This is
it
what we end up
this.
with. Look at that.
Now,
absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful. Nice, soft, crumbly pastry.
Yep.
Beautiful spice flavours coming through from the fruit. Delicious.
Superb. Right, I tell you what we'll do, because we're so running out of time, I'm afraid, Lewis, but we'll have to run upstairs because Amy wants to taste. Let's have a look at, first of all, the ingredients and the method for making your perfect mince pies.
Well, they were amazing. I mean, that looks beautiful. And pastry can be so difficult. Yeah, you ran up those stairs, didn't you? But pastry can be so difficult. So some fantastic tips from you there.
Yeah.
Just can get quite sticky.
Yes, cold is the secret. Cold is the secret.
Use the tips of your fingers. And luckily, if you're someone like me, you've got freezing cold hands all the time. You're a born pastry maker, so blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this morning's programme. Don't forget we're live with you on Friday from 10 a.m. We've got all the glitz and glamour from Bollywood with Summer Bee, and also even more gift ideas, so there's no excuse not to be organised. As I say, that's it from the team here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, join us again on Friday. Come on, get tasting,
okay,
you lady. We've got to see. Lewis has been working hard.
He has indeed.
So that you can.
Mince pies are my favourite as well.
That looks fantastic.
Is it right if I use my hands?
Yeah, go for it.
Mmm. I knew I'd love it. I love mince pies. I knew I'd love it.
Always better homemade.
Brilliant. Lewis,
pastry's gorgeous.
Thanks as always for being with us. We'll see you on Friday.